it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. So I said I would save the best till last, and I decided that I would do 25 days for Advent, although technically Advent only has 24. So today, being the 25th of this series, this is today's project. And I think I've saved the best till last. Okay, so there's clearly something else going on. I'm going to show you how I made this, and then I will show you what else is going on. So I'm going to tease you for a little bit. So this is a little cube box. It's 1.5 inches square, so it's very diddy. And I've used crumb cake for this and the Year of Cheer designer series paper, the specialty paper, which is foiled. So let me get started. This is possibly I won't get round to doing metric, but I'll do my best to convert this into sensible metric sizes for you. So I'm starting with a piece of crumb cake. This measures 5 by 6.5. So you can get 2 of this out of 1 sheet of standard cardstock, be that 8.5 by 11 or A4. And you'll get decent bits left over to use for other things. So this is one of the offcuts, and this is one of the other offcuts for the 2 that I've done out of the crumb cake so far. So you score at 1.5, 3, 4.5 and 6. Turn so that your narrow piece is at the bottom, and score at 1.5, 3 and 4.5, and that's all the scoring done. So pop my scoreboard down. Standard stuff. Burnish your score lines. We are, after all, only making a standard box. So I hope you have enjoyed the Advent series. I've certainly enjoyed putting it together for you. So, that way up. If I had a brain, you've heard me say that before. Right, we are going to cut up here all these score lines, leaving this section intact. So let's just cut up. This is the bottom, so because it's the bottom, I will cut up the middle of the score lines. And I will explain why I've said that in a moment. And then this I'm going to lose, so and I'll just wedge that a bit. And then this time I'm again, still going to cut up the middle of the line. Will I? No, I'm going to cut to the inside of the score line. Sorry, my brain was having a bit of a moment there. So by inside, this is the score line, which is this little sort of lump, and I'm cutting that away, if you like. And then again, I'm going to wedge that out. Didn't actually matter, but you'll understand when I come to this one. Actually, yes. So again, this actually I'm going to lose, all of this. So I'm going to cut, therefore, because I'm losing this, I want to cut to the inside of this score line. So cut that away, and then I'm cutting all of this away. And again, this time, because this I'm going to cut down, I'm going to cut this so that it's the inside. And by cut down, I mean not have all of it. So this I'm going to have so that the lump, can you see that? Possibly. So I'm cutting so that the lump of the score line is on what's going to be the waist. This is our lid. So if I cut that across there, it'll be a little more obvious what's going on. So then I'm going to wedge out that lump and just wedge out here as well. So again, because this is our lid, I want to cut to the inside of the score line because I want that to be nice and neat. And then I'm going to lose all of that oh, I say all of that extra bit, and then just wedge out and wedge out. So we have got that shape. Now, these bits are quite useful to keep, the ones that are a full square. So keep, don't keep, depends on how much you like to reuse your bits of waste. Now, we don't have a circle corner rounder anymore, except we do have one on the envelope punch board. So I'm going to just round out the top of my, or the corners of my lid, because it just looks neater. Get rid of those bits. So that is our basic box with the corners nicely rounded. So I'm going to pop some fast fuse on my flap. Oops. And remember, it's a light touch and a flick at the end. And actually, I didn't catch that very corner there. And then because it's a box, we can fold that in and just fold over and burnish well. And we're good to go. So now I'm actually going to use wet adhesive for this, and I will come back to why in a moment. But what I'm first going to do is pop some designer series paper there, because again I'm going to use wet adhesive and it needs to dry. So I've allowed, these are 1 3/8 of an inch square, so they are only very fractionally smaller than the dimensions of the box, because the box, if you remember, is 1.5 inches square. So I'm putting a reasonable amount of Tombow on there, because I do want to make sure that this is well stuck, and if it squishes out, just wipe it away, and if you rub your fingers together, it then just balls up. So that's all good. So that can then be setting properly whilst we finish the rest. And as I say, I am going to use wet adhesive. Now, for once, it doesn't actually matter too much which your back and front is, but I'm still going to work on the premise this is my front, therefore that's the last one to go down. So I'll put my sides in first, and I'm going to pop some adhesive so that I know that the edges are well glued, and then just a scribble in the middle. So can you see that? Like that. And then just fold that in, and then same again. And fold in, and last but not least, and scribble and in, and then just make sure that everything's well pressed down. And on the subject of well pressed down, you want to make sure that this is very well burnished. And the reason for that is I now take my 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to line that up so that it's in the middle. And if you don't burnish this edge well, it's quite a struggle to get the punch in, and you're going about 1/3 of a way down. And punch, and make sure you do not have your fingers anywhere near that, because it just suddenly goes. Then close that up, and with a pencil just mark where that is, because what you then want to do is, again with your 1/2 inch circle punch, punch out a matching 1/3 of a circle in the box itself rather than the lid, like that, so that when you close it, it lines up, or as good as. So there you are, 2 little boxes. Not terribly exciting, I'm thinking you're saying. So what you need to do is make these, and then make 22 more the same, so that you can end up with, can I get all of this on? Sort of. So I have to admit that I have die cut these with non-Stampin' Up dies, because the only number dies that we have got are too big for my box. And I want this size box. I don't want anything as big as 2 inches. And the reason I used wet adhesive rather than fast fuse, probably easier to see it that way actually, is because if you want to use this year on year, the wet adhesive is more likely to last and not get annoyed by, you know, let's face it, we mostly keep our Christmas decorations in an attic or a storeroom, which may not be totally heated, and maybe a little bit, therefore, I don't know, damp. And wet adhesive is kinder with that. So that's why I've used wet adhesive. And frankly, I would use wet adhesive for the seam as well, but for the sake of speed of this video, I didn't. So then all I did, as I say, was make 24 boxes the same. This is using Real Red and the Christmas Round the World Designer Series paper, and then Gold Glimmer paper. Now, I think I may have made had a design fault. I've put the lids so that they come up from the bottom. And I think it might be better, because as you've opened them, it's going to be there. I don't know. It may be better to actually have them so that they flap down. I can't decide. I think it probably depends on whether you close your window afterwards. I see it as, you know, open your window, take out whatever you put in there. Nice chocolate, bit of jewellery, something like that, and then close it up again. Now, when it came to sticking these together, I stuck them together in strips, and I stuck them, I did the strip with wet adhesive, and then when I came to sticking each of the strips together, and it's a 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, when I came to sticking the layers together, I put a piece of tear and tape down the middle, so down here, and then surrounded it with wet glue. So there was something to hold it together whilst the wet glue set. But I did spend quite a lot of time pushing everything together, so I'm fairly confident that it is going to stick for a long time. And for the numbers, I used the adhesive sheet, because it was easier, frankly, than trying to glue them on by hand. Whether they will last as well, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm now going to make one in Crumb Cake and Year of Cheer. So, as I say, save the best till last, I hope. So there are lots of these on Pinterest. I actually got the idea from one of the girls in the team. But I've seen them all over Pinterest, and I'd actually pinned some of these before she showed us hers, which was divine, I have to say, using some of last year's paper. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. So tomorrow will be Wednesday, I think. So tomorrow is an Inspire Create Challenge day, and it's going to be a sketch. So I'll be posting late for that, because those go live at 10 o'clock rather than my usual 8 o'clock. So just bear that in mind. And then after that, because I am now going to be working part-time, I will post every day, but I may not have a video every day. So I haven't got a pattern yet. I will come up with a pattern once I'm kind of settled back into work. But that's kind of how I'm thinking at the moment, that there will be a project every day, but it may not have an associated YouTube every day. But we'll see how it goes. So I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you would like to make sure you don't miss my blog posts, bearing in mind they won't necessarily have a YouTube with them, do remember to subscribe to my blog by email. If you go over to the desktop version of my blog, and there's a link to that below, you'll see on the right hand side at the top underneath the header there's a subscribe by email box, and if you just pop your email address in there, there'll be some I am not a robot type security stuff to go through, but then you'll get an email when I post. There's a bit of a delay, which I'm trying to get sorted out, but currently there's a bit of a delay but at least you won't miss the posts. So I hope to see you again very soon. If you need any of the products, obviously they will be listed on my blog. So yeah, I will see you again very soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.